In this episode, we're going to walk through an end-to-end workflow for creating animated GIFs using Docker and ImageMagick. I wanted to highlight this useful pattern for using utility containers on your desktop because it delivers very reproducible results. Here's the animated GIF we'll be creating today. I created this using Docker and ImageMagick and wanted to show you sort of my behind-the-scenes workflow for doing this today. If you haven't used ImageMagick before, it's basically the Swiss Army knife of image manipulation at the command line. It's just an incredible tool for doing this type of stuff, and it makes it easy. So why are we creating this image? Well, in an upcoming episode, we'll be collecting some sensor data, cleaning and exploring the data, and then plotting this dataset onto a map. This is sort of a personal project I've been working on. I created these source images using this pretty cool site where there's an online version of GNU-plot. Basically, you enter your data, this is my data here, and I posted it in the episode notes below too, just in case you wanted to try it. Next, you paste in your plot script. Again, I posted it down below. Then you get this cool image generated out of it. This isn't really related to this episode, but it's pretty awesome and I totally wanted to share it. Anyways, I was just playing around with the angles and I was able to generate 10 different images. So that's where these images came from. I wanted to create the animation because I sort of feel that it brings the data to life versus just looking at a static image. Alright, so let's create the animated GIF. I created this Docker image called Alpine ImageMagick. Basically, it's a pretty minimal Alpine image with ImageMagick installed. The reason I love running this stuff from within Docker is that you don't have to install all these tools on your machine locally. This actually saved my butt a few weeks ago. My machine broke after a failed upgrade, and I was still able to create an episode because my workflow was totally portable with Docker. The container also works for converting images, resizing them, and optimizing them into smaller sizes. I heavily use this container for most of the images you see on this website. You can also view the Docker file over on GitHub too. All the links are posted in the episode notes below. Alright, so let's jump over to the command line and have a look at our images. So you can see here we have 10 images that I created from the GNU-plot tool. Also zip these images up if you want to download them and sort of follow along. Let's jump over to an editor where I've set up a few commands. So the first command here is the Docker command that I use all the time. What I'm doing is running Docker in interactive mode so it'll give us a shell. Then we're mounting the current directory into the container under /data. Then I'm setting the work directory inside the container as /data. And finally, we're running the Alpine ImageMagick Docker image that I showed you earlier. Personally, I just find this workflow so useful as you don't have to install any of these tools on your laptop. I can now easily move from machine to machine and still work. You can totally try this too. Alright, so let's copy this command and head back to the command line and run it. Great, so you can see we're in the same directory here. What I like about mounting the current directory is that changes we make in this directory from within the container will persist outside the container. What I love about this is it totally allows you to run Linux open source tools on your Mac or Windows machines. This is just such an awesome use case. I'm using Docker Desktop here. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. It just opens so many doors. Alright, so let's flip back to our text editor and have a look at the command we'll use to create the animated GIF. So I'm using the convert command here, and we're asking for a 75 millisecond delay on the first image. Finally, we get to the last image, and we're saying we want to stay on this image for 600 milliseconds. The output image is being saved as animated-sensor-data.gif. So let's copy this command and run it over in our container. Just takes a second or two to run, but it's grabbing all of our images and creating that animated GIF using the delays that we asked for. Alright, so now we have our image. On my desktop, outside the Docker container, I'm just going to open that image. So let's flip over to it and have a look. So now we have our image. And then at the last one here, we'll have a longer delay. Cool. So let's flip back to the text editor and have a chat about a few of the other commands. So in the Alpine ImageMagick Docker image, I've installed a few other tools for optimizing images. You can run this command here to optimize PNG images. I use this heavily on the website to make it speedy. Here's some commands I use for resizing images. Say you wanted something with a max width of 450 pixels, or maybe you wanted something with a max height of 250 pixels, or maybe you wanted to create an indexed image and strip out any non-essential colors. So this is sort of my Swiss Army knife Docker image for image stuff. But it's really more of the workflow of running utility containers like this on your local machine that I wanted to show you. If you're not doing this stuff, I can't recommend it enough. It just makes life so much easier and you don't have all this cruft of installing things locally on your computer. Another really huge advantage is that you can get reproducible results and you don't have to worry about something breaking here, as you can just use the same container over and over. Without this, I can't tell you how many times a software upgrade of some type has broken tons of stuff for me, and then I spend hours and hours fixing it. So, this workflow of utility containers can really save you lots of hassle, as it totally isolates you and is very portable. Anyways, hopefully you found something useful in here. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.